Hi everybody, so right now I just got into my hotel here in Denver. It has been 1 full year since I passed my check ride for my regional airline. A part of this phase of flying, I guess, as far as like my career goes, is that now every year I have to go back to annual training and renew my certificates basically. It's also designed a certain way so it's like continuous qualification. They cover different things every year to like emphasize, and then a lot of the same things every year. Things change, so it's just like a constant evolution of, staying up to date on training and stuff. So that's what I'm doing here in Denver now. Yeah, it's my first one. I'm a nervous wreck. As usual, that's me. I mean, it's probably gonna be like last time. After I passed my check ride, I looked back and was like, really? Like all the training was really heavy duty and a lot to take in, but the actual check ride was a lot, I guess, simpler and easier than I was expecting. Doesn't mean that I want to prepare any less. Maybe next year I'll feel more comfortable with like the amount I need to like refresh and study, but point is you're supposed to be staying on top of all this stuff all year long. And the tough part is that like if you don't make sure that you're reviewing things, unless you actually encounter, say, like a stall or wind shear or having to do a missed approach, you're never gonna get to practice those. You can chair fly, where you basically sit in like a chair in your house and pretend to fly it. You don't have access to a full simulator. And if you're not experiencing it in the real world, then most of these things I haven't seen in a year. Yeah, it's been a lot of reviewing the last month. I mean, I feel pretty good, so we'll see how it goes. But tomorrow is just supposed to be like a ground. It's apparently gonna have all the pilots for this 3-day period as well as flight attendants. So people are getting sent in every year, but we've got, in our company alone, I think we've got like 4,800 pilots, and then, I mean, I don't even know, maybe 10,000 something flight attendants. So every year we're having one of these, like maybe every week, every other week, I don't know. So it's gonna be one massive ground session tomorrow, hit on any hot spots is what I've been told. And then after that, we're having 2 days of testing type things. But anyway, so that's what I'm here for right now. And as always, I guess you guys are just coming along with me for the ride. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye. Hey guys, so back from day 1 here of recurrent training in Denver. Firstly, so happy that it's not the weather it was last year when I was here, because it was snowy, but I had my car here, my Jeep. Let's see, so today, basically, it was like a chit chat day, cover a bunch of different like hot spots without trying to bore you all. We started off with a refresher on all the like emergency equipment. So we went down into the whole training area that has like a simulation area, I guess, if you will. It has like a wall filled with all these different emergency equipment type items, a fake main cabin door so we can practice opening it. We can practice opening it to like blow the slides. We didn't have to jump down the slides this year, but I did that last year. And then we practiced opening the normal window. It's one of those little things, but if you go a whole year, you may not have to actually open your window up front. So it's good to remember how to do that. I try to remember every flight to actually open my window at least once before we push back from the gate, just to make sure the window is working, because you don't want to get yourself in an emergency situation and then you can't escape. It's just like one of those what ifs, So we also practiced using a water fire extinguisher, and that's good for certain types of fires. If you have like a lithium ion battery that gets overheated, that's good for that because it cools it down, or like any type of paper wood burning fires. Not as much for like electrical fires, but then we also practiced using an actual like fire extinguisher, a real kind without water. We practiced with flight attendants later on in the day. We all got into this like fake aircraft that we have and did role playing, had a couple pilots up front, a couple flight attendants in the back, and then the rest of us were passengers. Practice this new way that we are announcing to the flight attendants that there's going to be various levels of turbulence to get them seated as soon as possible. And our Embraer 175 is kind of notorious, just the way that the aircraft is constructed, for the like back half of the aircraft is really bumpy, when up front it feels not so bumpy. So it's just a ton of different safety advancements, and revisiting things that have happened maybe over the past year that just need to be addressed. We watched a ton of clips on different aircraft crashes, and they are always reinforcing the CRM, the crew resource management. Like, as much as they can enforce it, it's still always going to be about whether or not we actually take it to heart and use it. So the captains need to make sure at the beginning of a trip, the beginning of a flight, beginning of a day, that they're creating an environment where all the crew members can speak up and say something if they feel like something's off, they see something that they might believe is wrong. It's especially important in the flight deck that there's an open communication policy there, but there's first officers that might create that hostile environment for a captain too. Because the captain is PAC, that's usually a situation that happens a lot where first officers or flight attendants maybe are afraid to speak up and say something. He may be doing something, she may be doing something that is right that we just don't understand. Usually they're more experienced. But there's often times where maybe the first officer has actually been flying on the plane for a few years already, and this captain has been flying on, say, another aircraft that our airline operates with, and then they've just moved over. They're not as experienced. They did offer us pizza for lunch. They don't have any. I had a sad Cliff Bar, a banana, and a cutie. But yeah, I'm just back in the hotel. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon on day 1, so I've got some time to study. Bedtime is around 10 p.m. We'll see if I even want to nap. Just want to keep you guys updated. Sorry I can't record in the training center. You get me talking to my phone in a hotel room like I did in the very beginning here a year ago. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Ciao. All right, so day 2 is done now. Oh, today was a lot of work. It went well though. I mean, we passed, so get that out of the way. But I was under a different impression. I thought today we were going to have the knowledge validation as well as our maneuvers validation. Turns out they're doing the KV tomorrow with the LOE, which makes a lot more sense. Today we met here at the training center, met our instructor. I have a captain pair. We went down to the briefing room. We briefed for 2 straight hours, and that was very helpful just to talk about stuff before we actually hop inside the sim. 4 hours in the simulator. That thing has a mind of its own, I swear. It's a really good replica of how it flies, how the plane flies, everything about it. It's such a good training device. It's the sim. It feels weird, it flies weird, the sight picture's different, it sits lower, so when you're trying to land, it's like you end up flaring high. I knew that was a typical issue, and I still did it anyway. It's weird, it's bizarre. So we did literally everything. A bunch of different instrument approaches, localizers, RNAVs, RNPs, PRMs, every other acronym you could think of, escape maneuvers. So there's different procedures for that. So we did avoiding traffic, terrain, wind shear, escape maneuvers, engine failures. He had us like hit birds accidentally, so we lost our engine there. Lost it on the runway, lost it in the air. Did single engine missed approaches, single engine approaches, hand flown instead of the autopilot, single approaches, hand flown, single engine missed approach. Oh, so many things. So it went really well though. Our instructor was really good. Just made you feel comfortable, because if he was just going to be too intense, I was just going to be like a bucket of nerves more than I already am. Honestly, every single check ride that I've ever had, I mean, I'm counting like 10 after tomorrow. Every single one, walking into it, I was mentally prepared that I was going to fail, and that's not the right way to walk into a check ride. But I guess it's just assuming the worst and then hoping that your training kicks in, hoping that you really have the information in your brain and that it's just a matter of getting it out, Kept taking deep breaths, said a lot of prayers, and drank a lot of water to keep my brain hydrated, and yeah, it worked out. So tomorrow, 8 a.m., doing our KV, we have to go over some memory items, and so we have to get split up for that. We go through the KV itself together, and then once that's done, then we go do the LOE, the line operating experience, and it's a flight supposed to be normal with minimal mishaps, just to see us doing normal things. Tomorrow could be interesting, but also I have my Deadhead that is taking me back to Chicago an hour and a half after we are supposed to finish. So that means I literally need to have everything packed up in the morning, drop it down off at the front desk, go to the training center, do all my stuff, hopefully get out right at 2, make it back over here to the hotel, grab my bags, get on the shuttle to the airport, make it through KCM, get on my flight. At least I'm not non-revving, so at least I have a seat and I don't have to worry about that. Worst case scenario, I miss it, and hopefully hop on another one. My dad's whole family lives here in Denver, so I wouldn't be worried about finding a place to stay, and the company would probably get me another hotel anyway. But I digress. I'm about to relax a little bit, let my mind decompress, veg out a little bit, eat some food, and yeah, I will probably check in either tomorrow morning or after we're done with everything if I can remember. If I'm too rushed, you might end up seeing me not in Denver. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
If there's a strap, remove it from around the pouch. Tear the pouch open, remove and unfold the vest.
Hey guys, so I am now not in Denver anymore. Now I'm in Mexico. Yesterday was really busy, and so I never got the chance or took the time to pick up my phone and record. So yesterday morning, woke up, went to the training center in Denver. We had our knowledge validation as well as our LOE, which is the practical portion of the check ride from Boston to LaGuardia. Then after that was completed and after we passed, which we did, the next thing that we did was, they call it extended envelope training, and it was a lot. So it was not supposed to be something that they evaluate, but they needed to like train us to proficiency in the time that we were allotted. Upset recoveries, stalls, unusual attitude type things, bounced landings, very similar as far as recovering from what we used to teach for like private pilots and commercial pilots and stuff. So it was very fun because in the 3 previous events, everything was just about being graded and tested and stuff. Yeah, you need to be proficient by the time you're done, or else they need to keep training you at another time. But it was like actually learning and talking with the instructor, and then he would like get in and show us how to do certain things. I had a lot of fun with it. Finished right at 2, was out of the training center by 2:10, and the shuttle to the airport was at 2:30. Got to the airport, and as soon as I got to the gate, they were boarding. It was a pretty long flight. I mean, 2.5 hours, enough time to watch a movie, and it was so nice to just not study for a little bit. Got to Chicago, and Alex was showing up. He had just finished a trip last night. He was gonna be arriving an hour after me, so I decided to wait for him. He always waits for me when I show up close to when he does as well. So I waited for him, and then we took the train back home together, but I got to the apartment at like 9, and I had to wake up this morning at 5 a.m. because I had a 2-day trip scheduled right after CQ, which is what our recurrent training is called. Got to the airport by 6:45, and now I'm in Mexico. We only had 1 leg here to Mexico in Monterrey. Tomorrow we only have 1 leg back. So it's a 2-day trip with only 2 legs. So we're here for like, I wanna say it's like 18 hours that we're here for. It's not sunny, which I'm a little bummed about. It's warm and muggy. At least it's not cold. I'm over winter. I'm gonna meet the crew in 5 minutes, so I need to change really quick. We're gonna go across the street and get some good tacos. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. And I know this was a kind of a slow video. I'm just sitting here talking to you guys in hotel rooms. This was where my journey started 1 year ago when I was in initial training. So I wanted to kind of follow up for anybody that's going to the airlines and has any type of similar experience as far as their first days, their first training experiences, and then what happens at the 1 year mark. So hope it was informative for some of you people. But anyway, I'm gonna go get some good food. So I will see you guys in the next video.